Bertie, you've played The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, which sounds like a terrible version of a Cliff Richard Christmas song.
It does, doesn't it? I have played it. I feel very lucky, actually, because I know how much people are waiting for this. Having had the last batch of content. Oh, God, I should have looked this up in November?
I think, yeah, it was around that time, wasn't it? Yeah, it feels like a long time ago now. Though.
So this is the big one. This is the one that I feel like I've been waiting for, and I hope that other people feel like they've been waiting for. And the other good thing about where this is positioned is that, it's a year after the game came out, pretty much. Well, I don't know when it's coming out yet, but it's going to be around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like going back to the game, which refreshes how you feel about the game, and it's really nice coming back to it and going, oh yeah, I really like this game because it has loads of heart or character, and those are the reasons I really love it, and other people will have their reasons. And Blood and Wine is, to use an appropriate phrase, overflowing with content.
With whom do we have the pleasure? Name's Geralt.
It's a hell of a welcome back, about as much as you could have asked for. So people are in for a treat.
Great, excellent. Well, I mean, yeah, so it's a proper expansion then. I know that you felt with the last one that it wasn't quite hitting the mark there.
I think part of the reason why I felt like that was because I was still playing the base game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was before this, but I was still playing the base game, and so I still had a ton of content to get through. So
Right.
I hadn't had that patch where I finished the game and I was waiting for more content.
Sure.
So perhaps that tainted how I felt about it at the time. This one, I had a long break in between, and then I picked it up beforehand, and I was playing it in the base game, but then going to this felt really new and fresh, and I was really up for more content. So perhaps that was my personal angle, but I still think this is notably different.
Right.
And the chief thing is that there's a whole new area the size of No Man's Land, so it's bigger than Skellige. I mean, is size that important? But it's bigger, it's big, it's massive. This whole new area of Toussaint, which is heavily inspired by southern France.
Okay.
And I spoke to the senior environment designer, and it's all new. Like all the architecture, all the fauna, the foliage and things. And if it isn't new, it's heavily disguised, like wrapped in ivy. So everything you see is new, looks new, and it's sun-drenched, and it's beautiful. There's so many colours. I mean, comparing it to No Man's Land is like at the other end of the sliding scale. You know, No Man's Land is ravaged by war and downtrodden and dark and bloody. Toussaint is the opposite. It's vibrant, colourful, untouched by war. People have got money, and even down to the things on the table that you see. You know, there's barely anything. There's bones in No Man's Land, but here it's tables laden with luxury. You know, people sitting there getting fat off the land and stuff.
Great. Okay. So what do you get up to when you're in Tucson? Like what's new in terms of what you're going to be doing and.
So the two main things. Okay, so you have a whole new region which is filled with a new quest. I'll get back to that. But the two major things that jumped out at me at the beginning are you own a vineyard. Geralt is given a vineyard, and fairly early on as well in the main quest, and it becomes your base of operations. It's one like major one main house with some outbuildings and a little area, and you can upgrade it. You get it in a kind of ruin, as if this was some television show, with a French ruined barn or something, and then you get to upgrade it by talking to someone and basically giving them some coin.
Okay.
And then you get your own armor table and grindstone, and then if you keep upgrading it, you can get buffs applied when you sleep. So you can get a buff applied to Geralt, stamina buff, and you can get vitality buff to Geralt, stamina buff to Roach when you build the stable for Roach.
Oh, nice.
So this nice, and it's a bit at odds with this whole, and you can display armor sets there, and it's a bit at odds with this whole vision of Geralt as a nomadic warrior, gruff, sleeps under trees, that kind of thing, or sleeps in barns. But it's also at the same time a swan song for CD Projekt Red and The Witcher for at least 5 years, probably. I don't think we'll see another Witcher game for at least 5 years,
sure.
if maybe longer. So for them leaving that behind, this thing that's made them, and leaving behind that for that amount of time, it's entirely appropriate. And this spills over to the rest of the content. It can get, in some places, it gets a bit wacky, a bit silly. There's one quest you can take mushrooms and talk to your horse. And and it spills over. And it's this nice kind of putting up of the feet, and you've done all the serious stuff in the main quest. And it's not to say there aren't serious elements.
Sure.
But there's also a bit of a relaxing of the rules.
That's good. That's what I like about The Witcher, actually. Even though, you're dealing with some pretty grisly stuff, it's never too grim. It's kind of all vibrant. Even though, obviously the Wild Hunt stuff, that was fairly, heavy-handed. But it's nice to know that there's, it's still going to have, it's going to be a bit more upbeat.
Yeah, and the other major thing for me, because I like min-maxing characters, is there's a new mutation character progression system.
Oh, great.
Well, it's not a new progression system, but it's on top of the one that's already there. So you use ability points and mutagens to unlock it. In the middle of, where you have your 4 boxes of slots you can put things in. In the middle is where your mutation is. I'm not sure if you can have more than one active at the time. I think there may be passive. But if you click on that, you go through to another screen where you have another tree of abilities.
Right.
There's not that many. There's maybe a dozen in total. And they're all related to alchemy, combat, or signs. But they're very powerful. And you can unlock those and have them. And they also, in unlocking those, they unlock more skills for your character page, more slots, for your character page, which is important because, as people will know, you fill up those slots quite quick, and you start having an abundance of points. You just can't. There's no point spending because you can't really use any more skills. So there's more slots, which is great as well. And then you have another mutation, particularly aimed at New Game Plus people who have a more skill points to spend, but also useful for. I mean, my Geralt's level 35 or something, and he has unspent points now because there's nothing for me to and these have really powerful abilities. One of them makes your Ard spell, anyone it knocks over it instantly kills,
God.
Anyone it doesn't knock over it freezes,
wow.
And another one is a combat buff, which is any killing blows either dismember or fatalities. But the other buff is that you gain 1%, maybe you gain 5% attack power every strike. A bit like the Wyvern decoction, but it goes up to 250. So you could get a 250% attack power buff. Jeez. But if you take damage or if the battle ends, it's over. But for long battles, potentially you can rack up a whole. And there's one that protects you from killing blows and grants you damage immunity instead. So they're cool, powerful buffs, which is great. So and there's loads of new armor. The other thing is there are armor sets now. It's a bit Diablo-esque, so you can have 3 sockets and then you get a 3 out of 6 buff, and then a 6 out of 6 buff, and they're different for the various sets. I won't go into them. They'll be in the preview you can read. Get a bit wordy otherwise. So there's other stuff, and then the inventory has been streamlined again, so it's all grouped a bit better. And you can one thing I really liked, you can read letters and books just by clicking the thumbstick. They just pop up in front of you, so you don't have to dig through your bags to do that. Yeah, packed with new stuff, this new area, and a nice quest. The other major thing, because they can't change the combat of the game, which I found got a bit samey.
Yep.
Just a boast. I finished the game on Death March, but the combat got a bit samey after a while, and I know the big boss encounters try to vary it with different attacks, but it can still feel like you're doing the same kind of thing, and particularly when you're facing the same enemy. So they haven't been able to obviously change that at a foundational level, but what they've done instead is they've used all their quite considerable expertise at this point, and the statistics about how people play, which they've got loads of, to challenge you basically. So there's a bunch of different boss encounters. I played about 2 hours, and there's a bunch of different boss encounters all in that time, about 5 or something.
Great.
And they all come at you in different and new ways. The ones I particularly liked were the smaller boss characters, sort of Geralt size, but quick. And they were stringing together a bunch of attacks, and particularly on the harder difficulties, that's going to be punishing because and you have to work out how to hurt them, and so there's nice gameplay challenge in there, as well as the only side quest I had a chance to go. It was quite a big side quest, entered you into a tourney. And it's a proper, and this is a place of knights and chivalries and big palace, like a big Disney palace in the middle.
Oh wow!
And you get, you unlock some knight's armor, and you can even put your own crest on it and stuff. So it's great. You can walk around like you're in Game of Thrones. And in fact, I asked someone, I said, come on, this must be inspired by like King's Landing and Game of Thrones. There's even a character you fight at the end of this tourney who's blatantly the Mountain,
right.
or a real rip-off of the Mountain. And that's fine, it's them being cheeky, and I feel like, be cheeky, it's fine. You know, they're fans of it as well. But they're like, no, it's not inspired by King's Landing.
Okay.
But it touches on that, and yeah, there's great creativity and imagination, and we were told it's going to be a 20-hour expansion in the marketing leading up, and it's a 30-hour expansion now. It's got like 90 quests, like there's loads of new monsters, just normal monster types as well, like a wight who summons dogs, which is really cool. So
kind of a bit like the Leshen that has control over wolves.
Oh, I didn't realise he did. Okay. But yeah, so this wight will pop up and he summons. You have to kind of get to him while he's summoning these dogs around as well. And those were they're the enemies I've fought. But yeah, it's packed with stuff, and I think it's £16 or something. I look across at there's been 100 people working on this for months, and it's just typical of CD Projekt Red, of the kind of care and that they put into the community and their generosity of content. And I just think you're a Witcher 3 fan, you've got the game. I just think this is a no-brainer. Yeah, it's about
50p an hour. Roughly.
I just think unless you're completely tired of The Witcher 3 and you don't want any more of that, but I can't imagine you would be.
No, God,
no. This is a no-brainer. I think, yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sounds really exciting. Thank you very much for
You're welcome.
telling us all about it. I imagine I will have used up all of the gameplay and the assets we've been sent for this, but just in case, if I haven't, I might show you some more now. If not, just go watch something else. Bye!
Bye!
It's begun. The fight shall have to end first. We must wait.
Got a bad feeling about this. Damn it. We have to help him.
Hello, Johnny from Eurogamer here, and I am pleased, actually delighted to be joined by Bertie, who has just graduated from Witcher School. Witcher Bertie, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel like a changed man.
Good. I mean, I won't keep you from your existing contracts for too long, but so Witcher School is a real thing in Poland that you can go to, right?
Absolutely. You can pay your hard-earned money to attend a weekend-long, it's like 2.5 days long, live-action role-play event